Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday. Happy Friday, December the 20th, 2019. Just 5 days until Christmas. It's 4 p.m. New York time, and wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And it's getting close. Kids, little kids, especially here in the U.S., but also in other countries around the world, are getting excited because Christmas is just 5 days away. And you remember what it was like years ago? I remember what it was like when you're really small and you have just kind of a basic handle on how all this stuff works, this Christmas thing, and that maybe the first year you didn't quite understand, but the second year now you're starting to get it because you know these cool presents show up, and now all of a sudden the time that it takes for Christmas to show up goes on forever. It just keeps going and going. And I wanted to just touch on that for a moment because we often talk here on LOA Today about the fact that we, when we are kids, have the, I guess we call it the closest connection, Linda, to, you know, when we were in the non-physical. It's like we have the best memory of it at that point.
Yeah, we know our truth.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. But we also simultaneously have this real excitement level about upcoming things like that. And I'm wondering, is there a connection there? Is it the fact that it seems like it's never going to come, is that tied to the fact that we're so recently connected?
You mean the excitement of it seeming like it takes longer at the end?
Well, just exactly, the excitement of it, the anticipation. The anticipation just seems to go on and on and on.
I'm not really sure what you're meaning, but I do know that when we're younger, we're just so connected to joy and fun and excitement. It's like normal and natural for us to just be really excited. But even as an adult, if you're excited about something and it's getting closer and closer, it does feel like sometimes it's taking forever and forever because you have so much anticipation of being there or enthusiasm or excitement for being there.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's almost like when you drive somewhere on the way there, it seems like forever. On the way home, it's like, boom, done.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, when it's nothing, when you don't have a whole lot of emotional attachment to it, that's when things seem to fly by. And that's my point. You picked up on it beautifully, that anticipation just kind of seems to stretch the whole thing out. It's kind of like a dramatic series that, you know, there's a key point, like a key dramatic point, and they stretch out that dramatic point to the last possible breaking point, and then they resolve it. It's the same kind of feeling.
Yeah. That's probably why they do that.
That's probably why they do that, yeah.
Yeah, because there's excitement in that.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I ask myself, why is it that we come here in the first place? A lot of people have asked that question. I've asked myself that question a lot lately. And I'm pleased to say that over time, my answers to that question have improved substantially. At first, when I asked that question, I asked it without any hope or any sense that there was anything good about it. But now I have a different feeling on it. Nevertheless, there's that when you have that sense of anticipation like that and it builds, it's almost like time sits still. And that's, I think, where I'm drawing the equivalence, because we're taught that when you're in the non-physical, there is no time in the sense that we understand it here in the physical world. Everything is instantaneous, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't have time, how do you anticipate something?
But you know what that makes me think of? Like, as soon as you said that, because there is no such thing as time. It's what we attach to it. Because there are times, have you ever had times where you're in the middle of something and you know it went like this, but it feels to you like it went forever?
Yes.
And usually those are times when maybe you were in danger or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Like I know a story of my husband. When we lived in California, he and his brother were building these replica Lamborghini Countach.
Ooh.
But from the ground up, like they built their whole, the whole frame of the car, and they put all GM parts in it, but it's like built from the ground up.
Yeah.
And had a body that looks like a Countach on it, and the whole interior. I mean, this was like, we took it to Lamborghini Countach shows, and people couldn't tell the difference. Well, without looking under the hood, just from sitting in it or from looking at the outside of it.
Right.
But anyway, my husband and one of the other guys, who was a salesman of ours, were testing out the rolling chassis. The body wasn't on it, but it's like this souped up, oversized go-kart, right?
Right, yeah.
And as they were testing it out on this road, something snapped, and the whole thing lost control, and they pretty much went airborne. Like it hit a curb, I guess, because it went out of control. They went airborne. They even like this 360-degree turn just missed a building by like an inch.
Wow.
Right, the corner of a building. And during that time, my husband explained this. I mean, it happened fast. I wasn't out there, but other people out there saw it. It was like, boom, done.
Right.
And they were okay. For him, it was like an eternity. It was slow motion the whole way. And then the salesman guy, and they didn't have bolted in seats. I mean, this was a raw rolling chassis. They just had like, seats laying in the thing.
Oh,
so no seatbelts, nothing like that. So the other guy starts to stand up, like, I'm getting out of here. He's going to walk out of this thing. It's in midair.
Right.
So my husband is trying to keep control of it, grabs this guy, pulls him down into the seat before they land. Now, all of that, for him, it seemed like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. But it happened like in a split second.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's one easy example. I know my son's had some I can relate this easily to near experiences where, on his motorcycle, maybe going to crash into a tree or something. And he just heard this voice or something and said, no. And magically missed the tree.
Wow.
But again, slow motion.
Yeah.
It's not slow motion. He was flying on this motorcycle.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you're taking me back, and I don't want to dwell on all these unpleasant things too long, but you're taking me back to right after Louise and I met. First time she asked to drive the car, we were out together. We were at a beach in Rhode Island, and we were getting ready to go to visit her parents. And she knew the roads better, so she said, do you mind if I drive? And, of course, the first words that came out of my mouth were, because this is a brand new car for me, just don't get into an accident. And, of course, 10 minutes later, we're on the side of the road from an accident. And when the accident was occurring, I was in the passenger seat, and it was the exact same thing like you're describing. From the moment where I knew that we were in trouble and we were about to hit, the whole time frame shifted. Now, I can't say it was slow motion. It didn't feel like it was slow motion, but I felt like I could tell every instant of that sequence. The whole thing just became crystal clear to me. I'm not sure it really slowed down, but it just became very, very vivid. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that too. So all your senses, all your senses were available all at once. You were like super heightened sensitivity, like all the sixth sense was there for you.
Right.
But this whole thing, even though we're bringing it out with obvious examples, which are usually kind of scary things, it just illustrates how time is just an illusion.
Yeah.
So why don't we take that and apply it to other things?
Okay.
Positive things in our life, right? Playing with time.
So give us an example, because this is great. I like this. So give me an example. Where would you go with that?
An example is why go into the group agreement that this particular, say, problem, whatever, is going to take 6 months and hard work and whatever. Why? Let's have it done in a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if we're the creators and we manifest everything in our reality, if we could really start to own it, then we can play with it, because that's what it's meant to be played. It's meant to be played with. This is a playground. You come here for the experience, right? And why not enjoy the journey? Like a lot of this horrible crap, we just bought into it. It's just stuff running in our system. It doesn't have to be. Because why could time be so different in a situation like that?
So essentially,
let's apply that time difference to a situation we want, that we like.
Yeah. So essentially, you're saying, well, let's imagine what would happen if we were to slow down the time or speed up the time in order to make it quicker.
Slow it down, whatever it might be.
Okay.
I mean, I've slowed down. Well, actually, I've played with time with getting to somewhere. If it was a 25-minute trip and I get there like 18 minutes, how did it happen? I wasn't speeding any more than I normally do. But I did set the intention.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, listen, we got to get there before my client gets there.
Right.
That's basically what it was. And I was not there yet. So, that kind of thing. So, as kids, we probably do it all the time.
Oh, sure.
It's just we don't have a recall of that.
Yeah. Well, there's also not a whole lot in the way of agendas when you're a kid. The entire agenda is, well, I just want that. That's all. That's my entire agenda.
Yeah. So maybe the kid's agenda is, God, I really want to go out for ice cream today. Yeah. And they didn't even ask anybody. But then like a half an hour later, well, maybe they could just be tapping into the energy. But, you know, why wait a week? Does it have to be Sunday? Why not have it be today? You know what I mean? Kids might be just doing that. I mean, I feel like they probably are just doing that because they're still more in control of creating, even though we think they aren't because they're these little beings and they need us big beings to help them survive in the world. They're still creating. They're creating you taking care of them.
This is true.
And for those people who had really rough childhoods, you're also creating that too. I hate to say it. There's a reason for it, right? So.
Yeah, that's the bitter pill. That's the hard one to swallow. Why would I put myself through
why
that?
is it only correct in one way?
Oh, I agree with you.
Why is it only correct when we want it to be, right?
I'm just saying that's what makes it difficult. That's one of the reasons I think we tend to get away from our connection to the non-physical, to the source energy, because we start to distrust. And we start to distrust, and as we distrust, our distrust actually manifests as more reasons to distrust.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of programming, a bunch of experience that we decide to hold on to. We could just let it go. Mm-hmm. I mean, when finally you come to forgiveness for someone and you lighten up and now your heart is joyful again, could have done that 10 years ago.
True.
Right? Well, for those who maybe hold on to it for that. I know people have held on to stuff like that for their whole lives.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're reminding me, I'm doing this programming project that's probably going to take me until next spring, but I'm thinking, it's probably going to take until next spring because I'm thinking it's going to take until next spring. Maybe I should be taking advantage of what Linda's saying and speed up the time frame and say, well, this is going to get done by mid-January or something like that.
Yeah, and maybe that's why this conversation's happening.
That could be. That would make sense, actually.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You never know where the conversation's going to go in the show. That's what I love.
I never know. No. This is not planned.
I'm going to choose a card. We'll see where it takes us.
Well, I bet you it's going to be something related to what we just talked about because it always is.
Or something that we need to talk about.
Well, it could be. Yeah.
So let's see what that is.
Because that's what this conversation was. Something apparently I needed to talk about.
So it's Angel of Balance.
Okay. Angel of Balance.
I'm on my iPad, and it's really annoying because I have to look in one spot to be like I'm looking at you. It's not like on my laptop, so I'm adjusting to that. So I look at you, I'm looking away. Because right now I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway. And I'm trying to see, where's Angel of Balance? There it is. Okay. All right, good.
Another beautiful illustration, by the way.
Yeah, that was nice.
People not watching us on YouTube or listening just to the podcast.
Well, they need to go look at YouTube then to see it.
It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful illustration.
It's a good reason to watch us on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, so it was in the upright position.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Being centered and self-honoring in your choices. Okay, that could be a good thing for this time of year, really.
True.
Because we tend to be forgetting about ourselves a lot and just wanting to do everything for everybody else and get caught up in the have-tos and the how-tos and all of that.
Right. The closer we get to Christmas, it's like, we have so many things we have to do in order to get ready for the holiday, and we start getting frantic, and we start pulling our hair out, and we forget, wait a minute, that's not what this is about.
And let me add to that. A lot of times, that's not just your energy. That's when you want to say, whose energy is this?
Oh, good point.
Because that's going on a lot in the collective right now, right? So you could be tapping into that and being pulled out of your own peace, that place of peace. So when you feel yourself getting in that overwhelm at this time of year, you might want to just sit back and say, well, hold on a second. Is this me? Mm-hmm. Or am I picking up on everybody else's stuff?
It's a good question. I don't think it's a question we ask very often. Yeah, right.
And then you return back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, you ask the question, truth. You ask the question of truth. Truth. Is this frantic energy mine? And if you feel like you get lighter by asking that, then you were just letting go of other people's energy that you were holding on to. So anyway, in the upright position, it says, this loving presence holds a pitcher of liquid light in front of the pyramids, reminding you that a strong destiny relies on a solid foundation of personal balance and emotional equanimity. So let's see if we can see the picture.
Yeah.
although things may have been out of sync in the past, this card is telling you that a greater equilibrium is now coming into your life. So you could lose sight of that too, especially at this time.
Yep.
You know, and maybe it plays right into your first thing with as things get closer, you know, for the kids, it feels like it's taking forever. For adults, we feel like we don't have enough time to get everything done, you know, that kind of thing.
It does play into that. It also plays into what I talked about when I mentioned that I'm dealing with my project and that I thought it would have to take until next spring, but our conversation was reminding me I'm not dependent upon time like that. Well, that's also a balance thing. That's me saying I'm not going to lean so far into the realm of, I am a slave to time. Instead, I'm going to pull back and say, wait a minute, I'm the one who's in control here. That is balance.
And so why don't we just ask the question of the universe, how can this happen in a much quicker time frame?
Yeah.
Just ask the question, how can this happen faster? And wouldn't it be awesome if this thing just rolled out and came to fruition like super quick?
Not with the assumption that
just fall into place. Everything just lines up. We just ask the questions.
Not with the assumption that we know the answer, or that we're going to know the answer, but rather just putting it out there, finding out.
Right. That's an access consciousness thing. You're just asking questions outside of your own mind of trying to figure it out. Because that's what limits us. We try to figure it out. And then we have these so-called ideas of time attached to certain aspects of it, right? I'm sure that's where you're at right now. Well, if I did this is probably going to take 2 weeks or, whatever that might be. Okay, let's see what the rest of it says. Remain conscious about how you're balancing your goals and your physical, emotional energy as well. Whenever you feel yourself getting off center or losing focus, call upon this beautiful angel and bring her intention into your heart. Your intuition will lead you in the right direction, and the angel will guide you to a peaceful and centered approach. Okay. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it's basically trusting instead of manipulating. Instead of feeling like you have to make it all happen. You let the angel, or you let the source, or however you want to label it, you let it just do what it needs to do in order to get you where you want to be.
Right. So what about creating without restriction and just doing what we came here to do and create? Yeah, boy, I'm taking this in because I need to hear this myself right now. Woo! I love how that always happens.
Well, that's pretty cool, though, when you are, because you're obviously a good coach at it, and when you're able to tap into your own coaching, that's the ultimate. Cause that's where you're doing your best learning.
Well, everything's a mirror. So no matter who comes to me with whatever they come to me with, something of that is within me somewhere, too.
True.
So as I'm working with them and doing healing for them, I'm also receiving that. And a lot of times when things come through and I'm just, hearing stuff to share with my client or to do some kind of process, I'll oftentimes hear, you better take this one in too. Take this one in too. Yeah, this is a good one. Let's sub that one in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's really good. That's a good reminder, and especially around Christmas, it becomes very easy to kind of slip into those old habits of, Jesus is going to be difficult, or, it's going to take a long time, or, oh, my God, everything's falling apart. There's not enough time to get ready for Christmas. It's so easy to get any of those false narratives going. So it's a good time to remember, no, it doesn't have to play out that way. It can play out a lot easier. Just a question of perspective.
That's what Abraham's always talking about, right?
Right. Yeah.
Why do we complicate things?
Exactly.
Get into a rampage of appreciation, and then it's like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that could happen. Oh, what if that could happen? Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that's kind of one of the messages I'm trying to remind people about this week. Spend more time on what you really want to spend the time on the stuff that feels good, on the stuff that you like. A number of our shows this week touched on various aspects of things that we focus our attention on that we really don't like. I mean, we do like it because we like watching the drama of it, but, if it were to happen to us, we really wouldn't like it. So we spend a lot of time focusing on this stuff. And we're actually a little bit better off, I think, maybe even a lot better off, spending more time focusing on the stuff we really do like and really do want, really do desire, because it's kind of hard to attract it unless you do that.
Yep. Well, there's another, I keep having Abraham keep popping in. There's another thing that they teach, right? Is because the war on drugs, the war on this, the war on that, all it does is perpetuate it.
That's right.
It's just feeding more of that energy into it.
Yep. Exactly what happens. Yeah. And with all the crazy stuff that people pay attention to these days, particularly in the non-dramatic, the non-theatrical areas, it just kind of illustrates how big that can get accentuated, how big that we can just take that into crazy realms. I mean, if you're paying any attention to that stuff seems crazy. But on the other hand, all we have to do is literally, like Abraham says, just shift our perspective to what do we like instead. And two things happen. First, we get better results. Second, and I'd say maybe this is actually first, all of a sudden, all that craziness we were paying attention to isn't as interesting anymore. Yeah. Have you ever noticed that? When we're spending more time on the thing we like, that old stuff just doesn't seem interesting.
Of course not, because it's not a match. It can't.
Yeah, it's not a match, right.
It's not a match. And you said something before about doing things that we love or whatever. I've been getting a lot of messages myself in my meditations and things to really start. And I think I told you I started oil painting, and right. I've got these other things keep coming in of little projects and things to do. So and I've been putting it off, or I'm going to start and then putting it off. I only really did one painting in the past couple of months. So it's been hitting me strong. Yeah, I got to pay more attention to that, because when I'm doing that, there's no place to be but in a high vibe. It's true. Creation. Yes. It's creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to spend more time doing things that we enjoy creating or doing. Could be exercising. Could be anything. Just like when you go for your walk in the morning. I mean, that's really feeds your soul.
It's a good point. It's something that, once again, I rationalize away this time of year because with snow and ice on the ground, my normal path is not a nice, easy path to walk on. It's actually kind of a pain in the neck. And so I dismiss it saying, well, I really can't go because there's all this snow and ice on the ground, not remembering that there's a nice, lovely patch in town that they shovel out every time. I could just drive into town, which is 3 miles away. It's a real quick trip, and get my walking in. Now, do I do that? No, but this is a reminder. I really could do that. I could actually go get that good feeling stuff that I like. I don't have to be.
And that made me think too, because it is cold where we are anywhere in the world.
Right.
And we're not getting enough sunlight, which some people have that. I don't know what they call it, some kind of winter depression kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing, because we're lacking the sunlight. Now, I guess you can get vitamin D and pills and things like that. Or I might even get one of those lamps where you can just be under that lamp for 15 minutes and get that same light that you're missing by not being able to be out in the sun. Or even driving in the car, making sure that, my hand is in the sun. Somehow the sun is hitting me. So it's been on my mind a lot lately to make sure that I'm getting sun. Because I think I could feel a little bit of a difference when I'm not out in the light as much. It does feel, my energy does feel a little bit more, just not itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was actually noticing that kind of indirectly today. Anyone who has glasses that have the lenses that change based on whether or not ultraviolet light is hitting them, they get darker or get lighter.
Yeah.
Will know what I'm talking about, because in the summertime, that anytime you go outside, of course, they'll get darker. What I find is that in the wintertime, they get darker faster and they get darker. The darkness gets more deep. So basically, what the lenses are telling me is, during the winter, we're actually getting more light hitting us, even though it seems like it's less. We're getting more ultraviolet light anyway.
Oh, okay.
So my point is, you don't have to expose yourself to it for a long time.
Just be out there.
Just be out there for a bit. Yeah. Probably just 10, 15 minutes is enough.
So you can walk up and down your block a couple of times.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's all it takes.
Around the building, around the house, around the yard, whatever that might be.
So now I've taken away the reason that people often have, and I have had it myself. Oh, it's too cold out there. Well, you don't have to be out there real long.
Yeah. I ran out of time today, but I wanted to get all bundled up and just, because it was sunny. It was sunny. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get all bundled up and just sit there and feel the sun on my face, because I'm sure you can still feel the heat of it, even though the rest of you is freezing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, look. Go for your dreams.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
That's the theme we've been talking about.
Be that creator.
That's
Go for your dreams. Yeah, like when I brought up that thing about me doing artwork, I came into this world as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I was always drawing things. I mean, I worked in advertising as a graphic artist for a long, long time before I started getting, really into my karate career and my karate business and then coaching and all that. So it's like I'm getting these messages. You got to put that in your life too. You can't ignore that because that's like a deep-rooted part of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, recognizing it and then putting it into practice, that's a winning combination. That's a combination that's bound to produce great results. And
yes, I don't think we need to read that because I put it away and I don't know what number it was.
We'll just let that one go then.
We'll let that one go. I think we got what we need off of that one.
Yeah, we'll just go with our own self-interpretation on that card.
Yeah. It's always better.
So, what are you guys doing? Do you have family coming? Because we're actually going to visit Louise's family over the Christmas holiday, which is something we often do, and we actually do a Christmas Eve gathering because Christmas Day at their house is more than frenetic. Not because they have young kids, but just because they have a lot of extended family. So, I mean, you basically are in a crowd, which isn't all that much fun from my perspective and from Louise's perspective. But Christmas Eve is the fun part for us because that's where it's more of an intimate family gathering. So. I mention that because we talk about how important it is, you mentioned it earlier, about anticipating, about building up that anticipation, looking forward to it and so forth. And Christmas is a great opportunity to do that. I have another opportunity that I've mentioned recently. Louise and I are flying to Florida in January for 10 days to visit with my brother and have time off and so forth.
And fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we're just looking forward to that trip. We're looking forward to climbing on that plane and knowing that we're leaving the cares behind. There's nothing else to have to do. It's just go off and play for 10 days. That anticipation's important because, first of all, it also helps you appreciate the event when it actually happens. But second of all, it's great training for just doing general law of attraction work. I mean, what's the thing we often complain about the most? The fact that, well, geez, I don't know how to visualize this thing because I've never done it before. Or right. I'm not even sure it's going to happen. My confidence level is low. Well, you can't have any better confidence about something than something you know 100% is going to happen. So there's the opportunity. You go for it. Just another reason to just follow through on do the anticipating, do the dreaming. That dreaming is powerful.
You know what? I was just looking through my phone because I'm trying to remember. I think I'm gonna ask someone I know if they want to come on to the show with us.
Okay.
This guy, that'll be a cool story to share. He had his own kind of an awakening. He's a chief, and he was a chief in the Army.
Oh, okay.
And he's done a bunch of tours, and now he's doing personal empowerment and coaching. A lot with vets, but with anybody. Really great guy. And something about what we were talking about, I think he'd be a really fun show for us. So I'll check that out.
Sure.
But I was looking for his YouTube channel because I think it's Chief Uncut or something like that.
Okay.
Because he was trying to censor himself a little bit, but he, without like using many curse words and things. But it's not really him.
Yeah.
So,
he's got to stick to who he is, right?
I think it's Chief Uncut. You changed the name of the channel. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Bring him on.
I'm gonna make myself a note. That'll be fun. Oh, I know why I thought of him because he lives in Florida.
Ah.
Yeah. So when you said that, he popped in my head. I'm like, okay, maybe I got to do something here.
Okay, that's good.
Cool guy.
Well, one of the things we're looking forward to in Florida is my brother I'm an amateur software developer. He's a professional. He does it for a living, and he does it for NASA. So one of the things we're going to do is go to Cape Canaveral and see his digs there, and there's a lot to see there, apparently. So that's one more thing to anticipate, one more thing to look forward to, and just build up the excitement and anticipation so that I can hardly wait for it to come, like Christmas.
I can't hear Cape Canaveral without thinking of I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, there's a flashback. You're basically showing our ages there, but that's okay.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of. I'm 58, and I'm proud.
All right. I love it.
I forget how old I am. Like, I forget how many years I'm married. I have to ask my husband, like, what year? Usually it's the other way around, right?
Blows the old stereotype, right?
I mean, it's like every year. So it's like, you know what year this one is? I'm like, I don't know. Let me see if I can do the math. Yeah. All right, let's pick another card.
Okay.
We're getting, that's nice. Come together.
Ah, well, yeah, that's what Christmas is all about, coming together. So
yeah, cute little giraffes.
Giraffes and what is that, an egret or something up on top there?
Yeah, some kind of bird. Maybe some kind of Florida bird.
It could be. Could be.
All right, so let's see what that's about. Come together. And it was in the upright position. Number 8. I definitely need glasses.
All right.
Okay, so let's see. Love needs to be shared. Yes, for sure. Okay, so it says love needs to be expressed. Drawing the come together card is a sign that you're on the path to discover the nature of this emotion in all its forms of expression. Romantic, familial, unconditional, spiritual. In each instance, there is another being involved. Love involves a give and take between you and a significant other, a relative, a friend, an animal, or a spirit. This card assures you that love has come calling and seeks a partner in its dance. Know that you are cherished. Like a magnet, you're attracting love into your life. This is a time of harmonious, caring partnerships. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it summarizes the season, too. I mean, Christmas means a lot of things to a lot of people, obviously. Certainly to a devout Christian, it's about the Christ story. But I think for most of us, it's also primarily about family and the people that are closest to us, the people we like to spend Christmas with, let's put it that way. Whether they're blood relations or not, they're the people we're close to. And that is a major theme. So what better card to come up? I mean, it's appropriate.
Yeah, they always are.
They always are, I know. It's kind of scary how often they are.
Do we want to go off onto another topic on our own, or should I pick another card, or what?
Well, let me bring something in that I saw just before I came on. I did a little. Sometimes I'll do a little quick flick by Facebook just to see if there were any interesting conversations, and saw a question that had been posted that I didn't look at any of the comments or respond to it myself, but I thought I'd bring it up. The person was asking for tips for having an abundant mindset. And I thought that was a good one. Because so often we get caught up in, well, here's what's going wrong, or why can't I get this thing I'm not trying to attract, and all this other kind of stuff. Focusing on the plus side is a good thing. So let's just take a moment to talk about what's it take to get into that abundant mindset.
Well, I think for sure gratitude. I mean, that one will take you right there.
Yeah, gratitude's big. Any kind of appreciation. I also think that this is where positivity, negativity can actually be a useful topic. Normally I try to avoid it, but if you're looking at it just strictly in terms of what you like, maybe that's a better way to say it, likes and preferences, just spending any kind of time doing anything, thinking about anything, focusing on anything that you like, just whatever it is, no matter what place you're in right now, that alone is going to make you feel better. And the more that you do it, the better you feel. So to me, that's really what it's about. It's literally taking the Abraham pivot process seriously and saying, just where's the silver lining here? There's got to be a silver lining in what's going on in my life, whatever it is.
Funny thing is, as you said that, as you started saying that, I got like letting go of judgment, which totally ties in.
Yeah.
Letting go of judgment of yourself and of others.
Yes.
Because that totally moves you. You're not in an abundant mindset if you're in a judgment of yourself or anything else.
Great way to ruin a Christmas holiday.
That's totally not enoughness or not good enoughness. I mean, there's nothing. We don't want an abundance of that. Put it that way.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I think gratitude and love, or just like I know I mentioned before, like a lot of times when I'm walking around, I just like send love to people. Mm-hmm. But another way of doing that is even just looking at everybody, like that person is pure love. No judgment, right? Yeah. Because you could be looking at maybe someone who you think is maybe riddled with problems or a menace to society or whatever, like some kind of downward energy.
Sure.
But what if you stopped and just looked at that being as like, I mean, that being's no different than me. We're all connected here. We're all made of the same stuff. We're all at our core love. Mm-hmm. It's just how connected are we to it. So maybe that person is just pretty far disconnected from it. So why don't I just see them as love and just send them that love? I mean, that is going to, I feel like when you start sharing love, that's just abundant. I mean, that's everywhere and everything.
I would say
it's in everything.
And what you're saying, maybe it becomes kind of a challenge for people who are dealing with, we talked about a moment ago, Christmas, family time, dealing with family. Well, sometimes we don't always want to have to deal with certain family members. it's a good time to practice and ask myself, Uncle Ernie, who I never get along with, can I see him as pure love because he is? Right. Can I see that? Can I actually kind of change my perspective enough to actually spot that? That's a good exercise.
So maybe that's perfect. Maybe that's our challenge for ourselves and for everybody else listening to do over this time. Mm-hmm. Especially, I don't really have any problem with going back and seeing family and stuff like that. Like, I don't have stuff like that come up, but I know a lot of people do. Oh, actually, sometimes people do some quirky things. You're like, he's just being him, right?
Right.
Well, what if I were just to be like, he's just, like, not even look at that as if I said that like it's a negative, and just look past it and just see him for who he is. I mean, so what? He does this that way or whatever it might be, Well,
that's exactly what looking at people as if they are pure love does.
Yeah.
It kind of forces you to kind of shift how you're thinking about that person.
Right. So I'm saying even in like simple things, because sometimes you think, you're only going to do that if you notice something really disturbing. But what if it wasn't it could be a small judgment of something, and it just pulls you back a little bit, or you're like, ew, or whatever. Be like, oh, hold on a second. They're just love. They're no different than me. Because if that's a good point. Okay, this is why this is coming in. If you're sending that kind of judgment or energy to that person, and we are connected, and we're all one, you're sending that same stuff to yourself, because everything's a mirror.
Yeah.
Right? So that's looking at the mirror from another perspective. So why would I want to send that energy to that person? Because really I'm just sending it to myself.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's one of those things that's hard to remember in the conscious state of just doing things, but if we just stick to the idea of, like you said, thinking about somebody just as pure love, we don't have to remember how all that works. All you have to do is just set that one task, and it just fills in for us. It fills in that this person, we start to see this person in a way we didn't see him or her before. And we start to even appreciating them for who they are because we're doing that. And then we put ourselves in a better place, and because we're putting ourselves in a better place, all that craziness isn't coming back to us anymore. Oh, what joy.
Yeah, and so all that is awareness and consciousness.
Yeah.
How much are you holding? Because so much of what we do is unconscious. So when you're in those places, it's pretty much an unconscious place. It's just like an autopilot thing because you've been conditioned to that.
Right.
So if you open your awareness and you're like, wait a minute, why don't I look at all the good aspects of that person? Why do I have to judge that one little thing? Who cares? In the big picture, does it matter? No.
Not really. Nope, It doesn't matter. And that's another thing that we end up letting go of when we take this perspective. It's a great perspective. It's a little challenging at first, particularly if it's somebody who really pushes your buttons. But that's also all the more reason to do it. What do you love? Yeah, there you go.
That's the card. What do you love? Just came up. So let's see.
Number 23.
It might not be talking about it in the way we were just talking about it, but
the title's close, so I'll give it to you.
And I opened right to it, so I love when that happens.
Cool.
It's like extra clarity.
Right, yeah.
Like Spirit saying, "Yep, do that one." No, I didn't open to it. Ooh, maybe I got to do this one too. Hold on.
Okay.
It says it's not personal. All right, let me read 23 first.
Okay.
Isn't that funny? I thought I opened up to the right card. Maybe I did open up to the right card.
Well, we'll do it then.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So what do you love? It says one of the most powerful tools for raising your vibration and attracting. This is good because it speaks to that abundant mindset, right? Mm-hmm. One of the most powerful tools for raising your vibration and attracting divine support is to openly acknowledge out loud what you love on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. For example, rather than spending your lunch break talking about the boss you hate, postal clerk who gets on your nerves, or bad drivers on the road, focus instead on the wonderful friend from college who will be visiting, or the corner coffee shop that makes the best lattes you ever had. In other words, affirm the good things in your life when you speak. Do the same when you chat with your friends or on the phone or in an email. You don't have to be in the presence of others. Everything you say, whether heard or not, holds an enormous magnetic vibration. So speaking of what you love not only heals your heart, it actually attracts what you love. Ooh, this is a great card.
This is.
The same goes for what you hate, which is most five sensory. Mostly what five sensory stuff is. It's not using that sixth sense. And, Sonia Choquette's all about the sixth sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, I start again because I don't know where I was. The same goes for what you hate, which is what most five sensory fear-based people talk most about, what they hate.
Yep.
Simply announcing to yourself and to others who and what you love balances your vibration and draws people to you. It also opens your heart and realigns you with your true path and purpose. Do this for a few minutes every day. It will correct your course, fill your aura with sweetness, and heal your life. Oh, I think that is a good answer to how to live abundantly.
Well, it's exactly what we were talking about, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in someone else's words,
Right.
So it's like really putting it there. But let's do that. It's not personal.
Yeah, do that one, because obviously there's something going on there, so we got to find out what that is.
Yeah. So it says, to build up further immunity against negative vibrations and psychic attack and elevate the degree of good vibrations coursing through your life, take nothing you encounter in your life personally. Ooh. As tempting as it may be to interpret negative behavior projected towards you as personal, it isn't. In fact, what other people feel or do has nothing to do with you. It's a reflection of their consciousness, not yours. By choosing not to do this, you stay tuned into what's true and important for you. Being impersonal doesn't mean that you're being uninvolved or unkind. It actually allows you to be more loving and tolerant towards those acting out because you're not engaging in defending yourself against the psychic attack. It takes you, this is great for people visiting family that do have problems, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It takes you to a higher ground and is a powerful form of psychic protection, causing everything unpleasant to slide away rather than to stick to your aura and ruin your good vibes. So remember, no matter how passionately you feel like defending yourself, let it go. Relax and focus on your good vibes. Yeah.
That's good.
Very
so,
nice.
What was that one titled again?
That was, let me go back 25. It's not personal.
It's not personal. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our second really good tip for somebody who's trying to develop that abundant mindset. The first one, looking for the love in other people, especially those who you don't necessarily find it with. And second of all, as you're doing that, particularly if you find yourself stumbling in that way, reminding yourself, nope, it's not personal. What they're saying, it's not about you. It's about them. Has nothing to do with you. Which is not always easy to remember, but if we can remember that, how powerful that can be.
Yeah, and so why engage in that energy? Because you're just having it perpetuate for that person, and you're taking it on for yourself.
Right.
Because we all are empathic to some degree or other. Some people more so than others, but by engaging in it, you're actually taking it on. Like you're starting to own that vibration. And you don't want to, right?
It's interesting.
Look at them with love.
We don't really think about empathy in terms of reacting angrily to what somebody else is doing, but that does qualify as a form of empathy. It's being connected to the negative emotion rather than the positive emotion, but you're feeling what the other person is feeling. There's an empathic.
Yeah, because you're taking it on. That's the empathic person takes on the energy. Like they're too open, and so it all comes in. So some people are really empathic, and they really have to work on balancing that.
Yes.
And sometimes, we talked about that before, where all of a sudden your mood changed. You're like, what the heck happened? And then you remember, I was online at the grocery store and that woman in front of me was arguing with the manager. You probably took on that energy, right?
And it wasn't even yours.
Especially if you engaged in it. Like maybe somebody wanted to try and defend that person, right? or the manager or whatever it was. Even if you're just doing it in your mind and you're like, oh, that woman's an asshole. God, I feel bad for that person over there behind the counter, holding the energy. So again, you always want to ask, okay, hold on. If you feel your energy, and you might not feel it at the moment, but you might notice it. Now you're in the car and you're driving home. You're like, God, I came here, I felt good. Now I feel like crap. I bought what I wanted. What's wrong? Right? Okay, well, so whose energy did you take on?
It reminds me that
is this mine? And then let it go.
What you're talking about there is very much tied to what I'll call the Me Too phenomenon, where something goes on like this. You see some event happening, usually has some sort of a negative spin to it, and your reaction is, oh, me too. I have exactly that same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we don't want to go there. Don't go there.
No, that's not healthy. I'm not recommending it. I'm just pointing out.
That's why you're saying it. We don't want to go there.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't do you any good.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's do Me Too for the happy stuff.
Wouldn't that be a different
for the good vibe stuff?
Yeah.
I feel good today. Me too. You know what? And let's turn empathy around a different way. The other person's talking about how great they feel good today. How about you? Yeah, me too. Even if you don't, let's take it in. Give me that good energy. I'm gonna hold it. Yeah.
What a nice, unusual, and quite different use for the hashtag Me Too. That's been used for a lot of negative stuff lately. How about using it for some positive stuff? That's just really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
My creative juices are flowing today. Me too. Yeah. Let's go do something fun. Yeah.
I like that.
I think that's if I have to have some people have New Year's resolutions. I never really do that. But I would say if I were to choose a New Year's resolution, it's to find myself feeling joyful and having fun in every day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, somebody posted, what did they post? Just a couple of days ago, something like, what was the best thing that happened to you this year? And without even giving it a thought, I instantly just typed right out, I spent more time focused on what I like.
Yeah. Nice.
And that was the best thing that happened all year. And in fact, it happened all year. That's what was so cool about it.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. That is the best. I can't think of anything better than that, really. As long as I'm doing more of that, how can it be worse? There's no way for it to be worse. It's impossible.
No. Mm-mm.
It can only be
good
better.
Vibes only.
Yeah, that's right. So, good cards as usual, too. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Amazing how you're just pulling them out there. We have about 10 minutes left. Let's take a moment to remind people who are not yet subscribers to become subscribers if you haven't done that. Most of our listeners are, and we're loving it. We're loving the fact that people are, I don't know if I told you, Linda, we are right at the cusp of 500 listeners on average per show. And, what was it, 2 days ago, we crossed the threshold 200,000 listens of our shows over the last 3 years. And 100,000 of them over the last 13 months. So, yeah, it's really picking up, which is great. But for those who are not yet subscribers, we want to invite you to join the group. Very simple to do. Just go to the webpage of loatoday.net, and at the top of the page, you will find instructions on exactly how to do it. Literally, it's about one click, maybe two, and you're done. And then all of our episodes are live streaming right to your device, or actually streaming to your device as we publish them, and you get them right away. You can also check us out on YouTube, because that's where we, when we're recording, we live stream to YouTube with videos, so you can see us as we're doing this. And you can also interact with us by chatting in the live stream chat on YouTube, so feel free to join us there. Again, in that case, all you do is just search for LOA Today podcast videos in YouTube, and we'll pop right up. Subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified, and you get us that way. But whatever you do, make sure you subscribe so you get 5 days a week of your daily dose of happy.
You know what I would add to that, too? Because I'm sure that your email address is probably pretty public on every platform that you're on.
Probably.
Is it? Or just going to the loatoday.net, they can always contact you through there.
Right.
Send us, let us know what you want to hear more of.
That's a good point.
Because we want to talk about what you want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really, let's just maybe just keep, every show, we'll keep telling, tell us what you want to hear about. We'll talk about it. You just let us know.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. And by the way, that email address, for those who don't know, is very simple. It's walt@loatoday.net. So it's kind of easy to remember that one.
Yeah.
And send them in, or just use the contact form on the website, and we'll be glad to address whatever you want us to be talking about. So you got a topic? Bring it up. We'll be glad to talk.
Right. So you don't have to be on a live stream to do that. You can just email us.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be listening live.
Yeah, and let Walt know which host you want to hear it from. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Because you've got these shows every day, and everybody's got a different take on different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like whatever you want, let Walt know.
I love it. Beautiful. That's a great promo. We should have you a recording of you doing that so that you can do that every show.
All right, cool.
That's really good. I like that.
Put Alex on it. She's good at that stuff.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that's like instant super energy right there.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, we got about 6-7 minutes left. Let's go back to the theme that we kind of touched on with the Facebook post, not building up, but how to improve your sense of abundance, how to have that abundant lifestyle, and what kind of tips you can have to that effect. Because we've come up with a couple good ones. I mean, we talked about the importance of the pivot and of spending more time focused on what you like. We also talked about
doing what you love.
Doing what you love, seeing other people, particularly those who give you a hard time or who you find difficult to deal with, seeing them as pure love. That's a nice big challenge right there. So there's a few really good tips. But let's try to get one more. Let's give people one more idea. How can we shift things around so that we are attracting that abundant lifestyle we all really, really want?
Well, I think just when you're feeling yourself feeling that lack, just do anything that raises your vibration. Mm-hmm. Anything. Exercise, watch a funny TV, call up a friend you haven't talked to in a while. Mm-hmm. Anything that would, if you enjoy going to the coffee shop down the road, do it. Do something that feels good to you, because when you're nurturing yourself and you're able to receive from yourself, well, that's going to raise your vibration, because a lot of people can't even receive from themselves.
Yes.
That's a big thing. And when you can't receive, it's hard to feel the universe as abundant, because the universe is abundant. Like, are you able to pull it in and receive it and soak it in?
No kidding. I mean, when
maybe that's even better. Just find ways to, find ways to feel good, but maybe doing something, receiving, or you know what? The next time someone wants to do something for you and you say, no, that's okay. Let them do it. Let them do it.
Well, even more than that, thank them for it.
Your partner wants to make you a cup of coffee, and you're like, no, I can do it. No, let them do it. Like, receive. Start noticing all the places in which you don't let yourself receive. Now,
yes.
I'm noticing this because my mother-in-law is here with us, and like, she wants to get up and do everything all the time, but she won't let me do anything for her. I'm like, sit down, because you have to learn to receive. Okay? Right now, you're just going to sit there, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring it to you. You don't have to come and get it. Seriously, this is going on like every day. She's like, I don't know why I can't do that. I'm like, it's okay. It takes practice. It takes practice.
But it's a great thing to practice, because we do have a tendency to just blow those things off. We talk about wanting to have abundance come to us, and then when abundance comes to us, we say, oh, no, that's all right. I'll take care of myself. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's a mixed signal that we just gave out there. On the one hand, we want the abundance. On the other hand, when it shows up, we're going to say no thank you. Hold on.
Yeah. And I see that with my mom, too. Like, she wants to do everything for everybody. But then, like, one of her sisters wants to treat her to some show or something. She's like, oh, no. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It'll make her happy. Like, you're the only person who can be happy doing stuff for other people. Why don't you let them have the happiness of doing something for you? Because that's what you're depriving them of having that. Because they're not going to want to. They don't want to do something for you if they don't want to do something for you.
And how about developing the happiness of receiving? I mean,
that's what it's all about. That's what I'm talking about.
If you're in a space of where you are always saying, no, I'll take care of it, what you're really saying is, I don't know how to receive. I don't know how to feel good about somebody else doing something for me. Well, there's a clear signal. That's like, okay, this is a great big flashing light saying, practice this, this is important.
That's what it's all about. I'm going to pick one angel card to close with, because I think we're probably out of time, right?
We got about 3 minutes, so yeah, let's do a card.
All right, I came up with have confidence.
Okay.
So let's just see what this says. Let me just open it. Might as well do the whole thing.
Well, clearly this confidence plays a role in all of this, so that makes good sense.
Okay. So it says, moving forward does not necessarily require you to have confidence in yourself. Confidence in God is enough, along with the knowing that God works through you and with you in all ways. Don't forget, this is the angel. This is guidance from the angels, right?
Okay.
Lean upon us if your confidence wavers, and we will buoy your courage and faith. So this card is a message from your angels saying, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Maybe you can open to receive more from people, because you have to. I mean, how can the universe give you what you ask for if you have a hard time receiving a cup of coffee from somebody?
Exactly.
Trust that you have all the ingredients it takes to complete the mission that's before you. Maybe that's your mission, getting it done, before when you think you're going to, because it could be that kind of a thing, right?
It definitely ties in. I mean, one of the things I was dealing with this week was what you end up doing on a daily basis whenever you're programming, dealing with the frustration, because it's like failure, success. Oh, good, I got to that stage. Failure, success, new success. Okay, I got to the next stage. A lot of failure you're dealing with. And that can kind of pile up. So it's a good reminder that, it doesn't have to be that long. You can just shift the mindset and all of a sudden a lot of those failures go away.
Right. So it says, although you may not completely understand how you'll fulfill this task, have faith that you'll be continually guided. And that's another thing too, because I know even putting your podcast together, the other podcast, the show, Grass Greener.
Right.
You were receiving so much inspiration on that you had a really high energy around putting it together, remember? Mm-hmm. So that's what this is talking to. Have faith that you'll be continually guided, because you will. The inspiration will just keep coming and keep coming, The more you can depersonalize this mission and know that it's not about you, the better. Don't listen to the voice that asks, who me? You are utterly worthy, since you are the perfect daughter or son of the Creator, and the angels surround you every step of the way. So you have support. Trust in yourself. You can be that love energy. You can find abundance anywhere, as long as you decide that that's how you want to live. You can become more and more aware of when you're not holding that energy. So the quicker you feel it and see it and oh, what happened? Okay, let me shift that. The better you get at it, so that really it starts happening less. It's like negative self-talk. When you're aware of your negative self-talk and you start noticing when you do it, and you're like, oh no, let's soften the blow, and you say it in a different way. After a while, it doesn't happen anymore.
It's
and then
true.
If it does, you're like, oh my God, I don't think I've said anything bad to myself in I don't know how long. Yeah.
It's exactly true. Dan Mangino, who's joined us to do the Tuesday shows, calls it micro-shifting, making little tiny shifts in our perception, little tiny shifts in our awareness, because those little shifts add up really, really quickly.
Yeah. And if that's in your awareness of these more positive, uplifting shifts, then you get more of those.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, right?
Good stuff. Good way to end the show, too. I like that. So, thank you for bringing your cards as usual. They just really nailed the hammer on the head of the nail. That was great. So, thank you much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family.
Yes, you too.
We'll be in touch next Friday. So, for those who are not aware, we will not be doing podcasts on Tuesday and Wednesday, Christmas Eve and Christmas, and we will also not be doing them on New Year's Day, I believe. I'll give you a better schedule on that next week. But we'll be back again. We'll do the show on Monday, and we'll be back again this coming Thursday. And then I'll see Linda again on Friday. So have a great time, Linda. Thank you very much. Thank you to our live stream and to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.